Gì? Sao? Yêu đuổi.
Blackheads usually start when pores become clogged with excess oil and dead skin cells, so prevention works best when skincare stays gentle, regular, and simple rather than harsh, aggressive, or constantly changing. Wash acne-prone skin no more than twice a day, and also after heavy sweating, with a mild cleanser and lukewarm water, because frequent washing, rough scrubbing, and very hot or very cold water can irritate the skin and make acne seem worse. Do not try to squeeze, scrape, or clean out blackheads at home, because that can worsen inflammation and may increase the risk of marks or scarring. Choose oil-free or non-comedogenic skincare, sunscreen, and makeup when possible. Remove makeup before bed, and keep oily hair products away from the face. Over-the-counter ingredients such as salicylic acid, adapalene, and benzoyl peroxide can help unclog pores or support acne treatment, but they can cause dryness or irritation at first, so it makes sense to start slowly and use a light moisturizer if needed. Improvement usually takes several weeks rather than happening overnight, and if acne becomes painful, widespread, scar-forming, or does not improve after a reasonable trial of self-care, it is sensible to see a dermatologist. And now the evening can belong to something much lighter, because in a small retirement town in Pennsylvania, where the sidewalks were tidy, the church bulletins were over-detailed, and the local bus schedule carried the emotional weight of a Supreme Court ruling, there lived a 78-year-old widow named Mildred Parker, who had reached the age where she no longer confused excitement with chaos, mostly because she had seen enough to know that the two were usually cousins. Mildred lived in a brick duplex with blue shutters, a narrow porch, one solid rocking chair, and a kitchen that always smelled faintly of cinnamon, coffee, and practical judgment. Her late husband, Howard, had been a mail carrier for 32 years and a man of deep habits, quiet loyalty, and highly specific opinions about thermoses. He had also believed, with a seriousness that should have been medically studied, that every outing improved if you packed snacks as though the nation's infrastructure might fail halfway there. After he died, Mildred kept his habits in softened form. She still packed mints in her purse. She still folded napkins more neatly than necessary. She still believed that leaving home without a cardigan was either optimism or stupidity depending on the month. Her closest friends were Eileen Russo, age 72, retired elementary school teacher, owner of dramatic eyeglasses and a more dramatic whisper, and Frank Delaney, age 81, former appliance salesman, current guardian of suspicious eyebrows, and a left knee that forecast weather better than television. Every Wednesday morning, the three met at Sunnyside Diner, where the pancakes were too large, the coffee was strong enough to restore poor decisions, and the waitress, Carol, called everyone sweetheart, with the brisk affection of a woman who had long ago accepted that older people were both adorable and exhausting. One Wednesday in late October, Mildred arrived 12 minutes late with a legal envelope tucked under her arm and an expression so severe that Eileen stopped buttering her toast and Frank lowered his mug before taking the sip he had clearly been planning. "That face," Eileen said, narrowing her eyes, "means either the church committee has insulted your potato salad or somebody's done something bureaucratic to you." Mildred sat down, placed the envelope on the table, and said, "I appear to be leading a senior casino excursion to Atlantic City." Frank blinked once. Eileen blinked twice. Carol stopped in the aisle with the coffee pot floating in midair like a witness in an old courtroom drama. "You are what?" Eileen asked. Mildred pulled out 3 pieces of paper, a printed itinerary, a passenger list, and a bright flyer featuring a clip art slot machine and the words, "Silver Luck Getaway." In the lower right corner, under Tour Escort, was her name in bold. "I am not leading anything," Mildred said. "I have never escorted a busload of retirees to a casino. I do not know who printed this, and at 6:45 this morning, a man named Stanley called to ask whether there would be enough legroom for his varicose concerns. Carol slowly set down the coffee pot. Oh, this is already excellent. Now, younger people might think a mistaken name on a bus trip flyer could be fixed with one phone call and perhaps a frown, but younger people do not understand what happens when senior citizens believe transportation has been promised. Transportation, to older Americans in a small town, is not logistics. It is destiny, with vinyl seating. By the time the eggs arrived, half the diner knew that Mildred Parker had somehow been named tour escort for a gambling excursion she had never agreed to lead. A man at the counter said he hoped she would assign quiet seats because last year Doris sang through Maryland. A woman near the pie case asked whether the buses had proper bathrooms because friendship has limits. Carol brought Mildred extra bacon for resilience. Eileen flipped the passenger list over and wrote, Atlantic City situation in large letters. We're investigating, she said. Mildred sighed. We're eating breakfast. Both can happen, Frank replied, which was exactly the kind of sentence older people say when meddling has already been approved by the soul. By 10:30, they were standing in the lobby of Maple Terrace Community Center, where the receptionist, a 19-year-old named Tessa, with the haunted eyes of someone who had taken a part-time job and discovered it was actually a front-row seat to retirement theater, looked up and immediately said, "Oh, thank goodness, the bus lady." Mildred stopped walking. "I am not the bus lady." Tessa blinked. "But the flyer." "The flyer is a liar. It took only 7 minutes to find the source of the trouble. The actual organizer of the excursion was meant to be Mildred Parsons, not Mildred Parker. Parsons was 76, energetic, loved sequins, and chaired the recreation committee with the restless intensity of a woman who believed paper clips were a moral resource. When the center's office assistant entered the trip information into the monthly bulletin, she shortened the coordinator's name to Mildred P. A volunteer later copied it to the flyer, guessed wrong, and printed 180 copies. Those copies had gone into mailboxes, church narthexes, beauty salons, pharmacy counters, and at least one orthopedic waiting room before anyone noticed. "So now," Mildred said, in the calm voice that signals the possibility of controlled destruction, "half the county thinks I am driving them into temptation." Tessa nodded weakly. "That is one way to phrase it." They found Mildred Parsons in the craft room, surrounded by laminated name tags, bingo markers, and the smell of cinnamon potpourri. She looked up, saw Mildred Parker, and performed the exact facial sequence of a woman realizing that prayer might not cover this. "Oh dear," she said. "Correct," Mildred replied. "Why am I apparently escorting 42 adults to Atlantic City?" Mildred Parsons pressed both hands to her blouse. It was a clerical issue. Frank made a sound in his throat that suggested he found the phrase offensive on theological grounds. Eileen folded her arms. "Explain it with enough detail that I stop disliking you." Mildred Parsons explained, quickly and with increasing shame, that she had indeed organized the Silver Luck getaway, complete with a lunch stop, a 5-hour gaming block, and a return by 10 p.m. She had secured the bus, reserved the casino group package, printed emergency contacts, and even ordered matching blue lanyards. But when the flyer went out, the wrong Mildred became public property. "And why?" Mildred Parker asked, lifting one of the pages. "Does this say I will be providing warm guidance throughout the journey?" Mildred Parsons winced. "That line may have been added by Joyce from hospitality." "Of course it was," Frank muttered. By noon, the whole community center knew. 2 widowers in cardigan sweaters loitered near the coffee machine, pretending not to listen. A woman with a walker whispered to another woman, "That's the wrong Mildred," with the satisfaction of someone who had beat the paper record to the truth. Mildred Parker should have walked out and left the whole mess to collapse under its own clipboard weight. That would have been reasonable. It also would have been unlike her, because while she did not want the job, she disliked inefficiency more than she disliked inconvenience. And once she saw the passenger list, she realized something grim. If she walked away and the real Mildred remained in charge alone, the entire bus would be a moving casserole of confusion. 4 passengers used walkers. 3 were hard of hearing. 1 required aisle seating and low sugar snacks. 2 had a long-running feud over a church raffle basket from 2018. Someone had written, "No shellfish, no onions, suspicious of tunnels," beside the name of a woman named Rita. This was no mere bus trip. This was a mobile negotiation with mortality, personality, and incontinence. "I will help untangle this," Mildred said at last. But only because otherwise someone will die holding an expired coupon and blaming me spiritually. The next 2 days became a ridiculous blur of calls, corrections, seating charts, medication reminders, and growing evidence that older Americans are simultaneously more resilient and more dramatic than the nation properly appreciates. A woman called to ask whether she could bring hard-boiled eggs for luck. A man wanted to know if slot machine proximity to the buffet correlated with cheating. Another asked if he could wear jeans with good meaning. One widow requested a seat far from Stanley because he narrates his blood pressure in real time. Frank, who had stayed to supervise foolishness, took over the phone line for men and quickly discovered that almost every male caller began with, "I'm not fussy, but..." Before saying something incredibly fussy, Eileen handled the women's questions and came away with 3 pages of notes, 2 fresh opinions about nylon slacks, and a deep suspicion that half the trip's emotional success rested on whether the first bathroom stop happened before or after the toll road. By Friday afternoon, disaster had reached full bloom. The charter company called to say the original bus had developed brake trouble and a replacement would be arriving from Scranton, which to everyone involved sounded less like a solution than a threat. Then the lunch stop restaurant called to say they had accidentally booked the group for the wrong Saturday. Then Stanley, the man with the varicose concerns, called again to ask if the bus had mature suspension. Mildred Parker closed her eyes and said, "Sir, at this point I cannot guarantee the bus has ordinary suspension." Yet somehow, because older people specialize in advancing through absurdity, one practical task at a time, Saturday morning arrived. The bus stood outside Maple Terrace with its engine idling, a little crooked in the front but apparently willing. 42 passengers assembled with tote bags, medications, travel pillows, cardigans, snack packs, and the guarded excitement of people who had lived long enough to know that any outing might produce either a memory or a lawsuit. Mildred Parsons wore a blue blazer and looked one mishap away from confession. Mildred Parker wore a navy cardigan, low heels, and the face of a woman who had not asked for command but had accepted that the day required it. "You realize," Eileen whispered as they watched the line form, "that you do in fact look like the proper bus lady. Say that again, and I will assign you to Stanley." The departure itself was delayed 11 minutes because Herb Donnelly brought the wrong wife, not permanently, not in a criminal way, but in the precise elderly married way where he had offered a ride to his neighbor Doris, assumed his own wife Helen was already on the bus, and only noticed the mistake when Helen appeared at the center parking lot with a fury so focused it could have cooked beans. That alone would have made the trip memorable, but the day had only just begun.